Um, where are we up to? I think we're on Mem Daled Amid Aleph on the bottom. A few lines from the bottom. It's the second of the wide lines. Vayom Hashem el Yeshua, by the pasuk there. Vayom Hashem el Yeshua, kum l'cha. The Bershom told Yeshua, pick yourself up. Yeshua, this is all still part of that same story where the Yidden lost 36 people, or Menashe ben Yair in Ai, because of the Avera of Achan that he took from the spoils of war when he wasn't supposed to, against Yeshua's instructions. So Yeshua didn't know, this is still the story, Yeshua didn't know why the Yidden were being punished. So he was mishtachave. He bowed down on the ground and he asked the Mesham, what should I do? So Mesham told him, stand up, kum lecha, pick yourself up. Darash Rav Shiva, Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shalach kasher mishalem. The actual word kum lach, you get up. What is the lach? To tell you lach. It's really a little bit on you. What you did is almost worse than what Achan did. Ani amarti v'haya ba'achrachem esayad ba'avrachem esayadin. When you cross over the Yad Akimu, you should immediately you should set up these stones that will, and you'll write the Sefer Torah on them. You did not do it right away when you crossed over the Yarden, but you waited till you traveled 60 mil. Basa de Nafik, after they went out, after they left the Yarden. Basa de Nafik, after he left, Rav did not agree with Rav Shila's pshat that Yeshua did wrong. He said Rav made an Amayra, someone to say over his vart. Alev a Darish, and he said the following drasha: Kashativa Hashem es Moshe Avdei. Like Hashem commanded his servant Moshe, Kain Tziva Moshe es Yeshua. That's what Moshe commanded Yeshua. B'chein also Yeshua, and that's what Yeshua did. Like Hisidav Mikol Hashatziva Hashem es Moshe. Yeshua did everything the way that the Rebbe Shalom had told Moshe, and he didn't leave out anything. So this that you were saying that you're darshaning that that the Yidden were being punished because Yeshua didn't immediately set up the matzevus, and when they crossed over the Yad, but rather he waited 60 mil till they got to Hagrizim and Ha'evel. That's not correct, because that was really what he was supposed to do. Imkein matam loimer kum lach. What does the pasuk mean? Amalei ata garam lehem. He said that you caused it, not because of that you didn't follow my instructions, but because that Yeshua was not told that in Yerichai the Yidden should not take from the spoils. That was his psak. He said he's going to do a matana. He's going to make he's going to give something to the Bnei Shalom. He's going to say everything that you collect people shouldn't keep it for themselves. It should all go to Kodesh. But that wasn't really what the halacha was. It wasn't part of the Torah. It was Yeshua's addition. So he's saying you caused it by making something that wasn't necessary, by making a gzera that the tzibur was not yachal lamed by. You should do by I and to its king like you did to Yerichai and to its king. And then the pasuk in Yeshua goes on to explain. What is this pasuk? It says it on the bottom. It says you could take from the spoils in I, right? And by the second Milchama, like you were supposed to do by Yerichai. So you see from this pasuk that it really wasn't correct, or it wasn't the Rebbeinu Shalom Zera that the Yidden shouldn't take from the spoils in Yerichai. It was Yeshua's, because the pasuk in the end says, by I you should do like you were commanded to by Yerichai, and yet you should take from the spoils. We continue with the story of Yeshua by Ai, and he was coming to the Milchama, and he saw he saw a man coming, and he said to him, "Who are you?" He fell down. I am a messenger of Hashem, a malach of Hashem, and I am now coming. Ata basi. When Yeshua fell on his face and he bowed down to this Sar Tzva Hashem. This was taking place at night, and the din is you're not allowed to say shalom at night. Why not? Because when you meet someone at night, there's a possibility maybe it's a shade, and therefore you shouldn't say shalom because that's like you're giving a bracha to a shade. So Gemara Shani Hasan the Kamali Anisa Atzva Hashem Atabasi. I says, what are you talking about? Why would he be chayshed? It's a shade. It said that the person that he met said, I'm a Sar Tzva Hashem. The Dilma Meshakri. Gemara says, well, what do you mean? Maybe he was lying. Just because he said I'm a Sar Tzva Hashem doesn't mean he's not a shade. So well, no. A shade does not say the Shem Hashem Levatala, so therefore Yeshua was able to be confident that it was not a shade, it was really Sar Tzva Hashem, and that's why he bowed down. But in any case, they continued their discussion with this Malach Gabriel. It was Amalei Emesh Bitaltem Tom Shel Ben Abayim, V'achshav Bitaltem Talmud Torah. He said to Yeshua, yesterday during the day you did because you were going to this Milchama, you didn't bring the Talmud Shel Ben Abayim. And now at night, you're waiting for the Muhammad tomorrow instead of going back to the camp and learning. You see, Mavatal Talmud Torah. So Yeshua asked him, Aleza mehem basa, on which one of these two things, which is the bigger problem? Amalei ata basi. He's saying, I'm coming now. For that you Mavatal Talmud Shel Ben Abayim, I wouldn't have come. But now, by night, and I see you being Mavatal Torah, that's why I'm coming. Miyad vayilan Yeshua balaylahu b'soicha emek. The pasuk says Yeshua stayed that night in the valley. He immersed himself in the Aimak Havalacha. Amr Shmuel ba'unya mishmei Rav Gadol Talmud Torah Yosem Yakravas Tmidim. Rav Unya says b'shem Rav that Talmud Torah is greater than bringing a Talmud. Shenema Atabasi. From this story, you see that the Malach told him that the bigger oven was that he did not, he didn't learn Torah at night, rather than the leaving over, not bringing the Talmud Shel Shachar, or Talmud Shel Ben Abayim. Amlei Abayla Rav Dimi, Hai Kra b'Marava b'Mai Mukmisulei. How do you learn this following pasuk? Al Teitze L'Riv Maher. Don't go out, don't go quick and get into a machlokes. Pen mata'asa b'achrisa b'hachlam oischa reyacha. Because you have to worry about what's going to happen in the end. Your friend is going to embarrass you. Rivcha riv es reyacha. And if you do fight with your friend, if you get into an argument, beside acha loy segel, don't be megala the secret of your friend. It doesn't mean really be megala the side. It means don't. If there's something that the person would often happen when people are arguing, you'll figure out what you'll yell at the guy and you'll bring up his weak point, the thing that he doesn't like being mentioned. So you'll be megala his side. When you're arguing with him, you'll say, oh, I remember in 8th grade when you got kicked out of school for a week because of what you did. And you'll bring it up and he's embarrassed about it. So when you get into a fight, don't bring up the person's deep, dark secrets. So Dr. Rabbi Shosh Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yecheskel Lech Amalei HaMyisrael Avicha HaMoiri Ve'imcha Chitis, that the Rebbe Shalom told Yecheskel when he was supposed to chastise them for their averis, you should tell them your father was from the Amoiri and your mother was from the Chiti, meaning they were descended from Plishtim, the Avram and Sarah. Amra Ruach Piskoinis L'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, a Malach said to the Rebbeinu Shalom, a Ruach Piskoinis was a certain type of Malach, a Malach that stood up, that advocated for the Yisrael. Rabban Shalom, im Yavayu Avram v'Sara v'yamdu v'necha ata oimelhem machlamaisam. Would you really embarrass Avram and Sarah if they were the ones here and saying you're descendants from the Chitim and from the Amori? Rivcha Riva, they quoted this pasuk, Rivcha Riva al Reyecha, beside Achar al Tegel. When you argue with your friend, don't embarrass him by bringing up his secret embarrassments. So therefore, this Malach said to the Rabban Shalom, you shouldn't bring this up. So tomorrow, Miyaslei Rishusu Kuli Hai. Is a Malach allowed to say such a thing to the Rabban Shalom? It sounds very chutzpah. So in Rabbi Yosef Reb Chanina Sholosh Shemesh Yeshlei. This Malach, I think it's Gabriel, has 3 names that are used for him. Piskoin, he's called a Piskoin, like he intercedes on behalf of Klal Yisrael. Itmoin, Tomon, he hides or he stuffs up. That means he stops in its tracks. Sigroin, and it closes. So Piskoin shepaisik dvaram klape maila. He stops things that the Rebbe Shalom is going to do. Itmoin she'oitem avanesein shel Yisrael, that he closes up the sins of Klal Yisrael that they're going to be punished for. And Sigroin kiven shesay geshuv en pesach. He's called a Sigroin, a closer. Once he closes, once he gives his, once this Malach gives his reasons why the Yidden shouldn't be punished, there's no need and there's no one else needs to argue anymore. That's the end of the discussion. Pasuk continues. Hayarech shu'acha loy betzar. When you make hayarech shu'acha, when you make your tefillas loy betzar, it shouldn't be when you're in need. It shouldn't be when the need is pressing. Amar Abelazar lo olam yaktav adam tefillah letzara. A person should always do his tefillah before the tzara comes. Shalom Molei hiktem Avram tefillah letzara. If Avram Avinu had davened in advance before the Yidden were in a Eitz tzara, bein Beiskel ubein Ai, when he was traveling between Beiskel and Ai, loy nishtayim Shah Yisrael shridu polit. Had Avram made his tefillas earlier, it's right away before he came to Canaan. But if he had done it before he even came to Canaan, there never would have been none of the people of all the dairis that caused tsaras for Klal Yisrael. Nothing would have been left of them. Avram's tefillah would have helped everything. He learns this pasuk a little differently. He says, if you're yarech shuecha, if you daven when you're in this world, he won't have anyone advocating against him when he comes to Olam Haba. He says a third shot that he should ask that all the malachim, he should daven that all the malachim should be on his side, and there shouldn't be any that he's saying what the tefillah should be. His tefillah should be that there shouldn't be any milmaila, there shouldn't be any malachim that are giving him a hard time in Olam Haba. So the Mishnah continued. Minayin shekipeloi viduya. We said that Achan they told Achan he should be mecha, he should ask for, he should be mevade, he should be confess for the oven that he did, in order that before he gets executed for taking the spoils of war in Ai, and the pasuk says he got a kapara. So the Gemara asked, how do you know that he got a kapara? Taner Rabbanan. So the Gemara says over what the Mishnah said. Taner Rabbanan minayin shekipeloi viduyav. Shenemar, where do we know that he was miskaper? Shenemar v'yemel Yeshua ma'acharenu yecharucha Hashem hayom hazeh. What can I ruin that Hashem ruined on this day? Hayom hazeh ata achar. Today you're ruined. V'yata achar lo olam haba. But it's only temporary since you're getting executed, and you also have confessed to your averis. Therefore, you're not going to be punished olam haba. Uksiv ubnei Zerach Zimri ve'esan ve'Heman ve'Kilkel. The sons of Zerach was Zimri, Esan, Haman, Vakilka, Vadarda. Kulam Chamisha me'ai. Kulam Chamisha. All of them are 5. My Kulam Chamisha. What does it mean? All 5 of them. Kulam Chamisha hein la'olam haba. All these descendants of Zerach were all Zeicha la'olam haba. So one of them was Zimri, and Zimri was really Achan. So we see from here also that Achan was Zeichel Olam Haba. In fact, the Gemara Ksiv Zimri v'Ksiv Achan. It says one place Zerach's son was called Zimri, another place is called Achan. Rabba Shmuel Chadam Achan Shmoy V'Lam Niku Shmoy Zimri Sha'asa Ma'isa Zimri. One says his name was really Achan. It was called Zimri. Then he did a Ma'isa like Zimri, like we saw in the earlier Gemara, that he was he was over on Naira Amirasa. He was a boil on Naira Amirasa, which is similar to the Ma'isa Zimri. Chadam Zimri Shmoy V'Lam Niku Shmoy Achan She Ichen Avnesein Shel Yisrael. He was called Achen because he brought about the avoinus, he caused them to be Achen. He caused them to be wrapped up in avoinus by doing this, taking the spoils and causing them to lose people in the battle in Ai. The Mishnah continues.
So at the end of the day, this Isser to take spoils, it wasn't from Hashem, it was Yeshua's commandment.
From Yeshua. So Yeshua was punished for making a gezerah that the Siba was not able to withstand. But Lamaisa, everyone else withstood except for Achan. So he still got punished, even though Yeshua shouldn't have made that gezerah. Once he made the gezerah, the Yidden were required to listen to it.
It became like a deraisa?
You're saying that it was a capital punishment?
Yeah, I mean
Listen, there's it's Merida b'malchus, right? It's a gzeira during war. It's like someone who abandons his post. So you go AWOL. He falls asleep while he's guarding. During war, it takes away from the discipline.
Right. But that should be. That sounds like ben adam la'adam.
No.
And he shouldn't.
Loisasur. There's a pasuk that says, midaraisa, you have to listen to the rabbanans.
You have to listen to the melech.
You know that. It's not just the melech, right? It's every derabanan is really. This is like the Shmaitza talks about this. Every deraisa, the Gemara talks about it also. Every deraisa is really every derabbanan is really a deraisa, because the Torah says loisasur, you have to listen to the rabbanim. So, and this is also on top of that. It's from a melech. You have to listen to a melech.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly, this is very understandable that in times of war, if you have no discipline, you have no army. Someone doesn't listen. Yeah.
Okay, so he got Misa.
He got Misa, but once he was punished and he confessed, he got Zeichel Olam Haba.
Right, but it's just, why would other people be punished for him not listening to the Gemara?
That was the Gemara before that said there was a machlokes about this. One pshat in the Gemara said that it's because after the Yidden went into Eretz Yisrael, they had a special bond. There was a unique arvus that every Yid was responsible for one another, which there never was such a thing that one Yid doesn't have error, the whole Klal Yisrael should be punished. But listen, your Rebbe never told you this, that everyone's responsible. If you're not gonna daven with kavana, the Yid in Ukraine could be subject to who knows what kind of yisurin. We all have to daven for each other. It goes both ways. The same way we could be mispal for each other, our averis also could cause rifyan. It could cause weakening. Mm-hmm. The punishment of Yisrael was that when they went into Milchama, they didn't, until then, every Milchama they won without any casualties. And they had casualties, which is a normal thing in war. But this was a punishment for what he did. He weakened the Klal Yisrael. They didn't have error that made it that they didn't get the special siyata d'shmaya, the special protection. So you're like, the punishment, he got the punishment, he was punished for his avera. The Yidden just were left to normal reality.
Right.
Yeah. let's go weiter in the Gemara. Vayinaku atzman. I'm sorry. Imenu yedei lizvadis. Right, a little bit before that. So we said from the Mishnah, if the person doesn't know how to say a vidui, you tell him what to say. And we said if the person says I didn't actually commit this avera, so you say I want to get a kapara for everything except for this thing that I'm being accused of. But Yehuda says you can't say that because then the person's going to say it in order to make himself seem like he's excused. Lanakis atzman. He's not going to. Everyone's going to say it because they're going to want to seem that they're free, that they didn't do it. And what's the big deal? What's so terrible if the person makes himself sound as if he didn't do the avera? You don't want that this person to make. You have a whole court case, and he was found guilty, and then at the end he makes a confession. He says, "I want this to be a kapara for all my avonos, except for what the court found me guilty of. That I never did." It'll be a busha for the court. People will believe what he's saying. He's saying it when he's going out to be killed. He's saying it because he doesn't want people to think badly of him. And in the meantime, everyone will believe him, and they'll think that the court was wrong. There was a certain man who was going out to be killed. He said, if I actually did this, I don't want to get a kapara on all my other avainas. He doubled down. He said, not only did I not do this, I'm telling you, I don't want to get a kapara on any of my avainas. From this misa, you could kill me. Go ahead and kill me, but I don't want a kapara on any of my avainas if it's not true that I didn't do this thing. And if I taka didn't do this, kapara. I'm sorry. He said, if I did this, it shouldn't be, my misa shouldn't be a part of him. But if I didn't do this oven, in that case, I want it to be a kapara for all my avainas. And Bezdin and all the Gans Kal Yisrael should be Pater v'Edim lo'itahelahem mechila l'olam. But the Edim, the people who lied about me, and they claim that, as we're going to see, there's a long Rashi on the side here, which says that in the end, that this whole case was a tzaddik who had trumped up charges against him. He was able to figure out a way to stop these witches, these sorcerers from doing kishuf, and they plotted against him. They got people to lie about him that he did something wrong, and therefore he was getting killed. He was sentenced to death. So he said, I'm moichel everyone except for the Edim that lied about me. When the Chacham heard about it, they said, you can't let him off the hook because we already have a Gezar Din on him. We're going to have to kill him. And the Edim are just going to have to bear the iniquity. They didn't get a mechila from him. And once they did this and he's dead, he's no longer going to be Michael them, they're going to have to suffer in the end. So I can remember Pshita Kolkamina. It's partial. Obviously, you have to go ahead. Just because he said something, you're going to let a person off the hook? So we're talking about where the Edim admitted that what they said wasn't valid. The rule is once Edim say, they can't retract their edus. There's no such thing. Edim, they're not believed to say that what they said is not true. Especially like we saw before, the Edim, everyone can say if they have a reason to let someone off the hook. But the Edim, we don't allow it because we're afraid that they're going to lose their nerve. They said Edis and the guy's going to get killed. They're going to say, I don't want it to be on my head. So we don't allow the Edim to change their Edis or to come up with arguments. So the Gemara says, so what difference does it make? So why would we think that we should be chayzer? The avagav, the kayav, time alamusayu, kiahu meiser de boy michsa. The Gemara says, even though this was a case where there was a reason why they were being mahader, and like we just said, we said that whole story that it was these witches that had this is the son of Shimon ben Shotach who had gotten them killed. He was able to get these witches killed, and then they got their krivim to come after him. So it made sense that the Edom were lying. Even so, until you have other Edom that come and contradict them, you can't undo their edus.
So they ended up executing him.
What'd you say?
So they ended up executing him.
They executed him, yeah. There's no choice. You have Edom, you have kosher Edom. Even though they believed him, you can't just say, you have to come up with a legally judiciable reason, a reason that can be entered into court to let him go free.
So it was, the Chacham at that point, they already knew that charges were trumped up.
Well, first of all, when he said this, like moving this very extreme position. He said that, I don't want to get a kapara on any of my avainis if I actually did what you're claiming I did. And then the Edom said, it's true, we really were lying, and we were just sent here because he caused these other people to get killed, and we were getting nekama. Between everything, the Chachamim came to realize that that's what happened, but they had no choice. The hands were tied.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story. It's very interesting that that's the way it would work. Like, we think like Yikav Adinis Har. Once you have a psak, what do we care about arguments? The guy saying we don't believe that a person, we don't have closing statements and opening statements, and you try to make the Bezdin feel bad for him or feel good about him. It's not the way we work. You have to pass in according to what the din is. This is an interesting Gemara. Okay, we're going to stop over here, and I think we'll do right after Shabbos, Be'ez Hashem.
Okay.
Hope so.
Yeah,
okay. Thank you.
Shabbos. Enjoy it.
Okay, take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.